not?
All right, out of respect for everybody's time, I'm going to start on time. Welcome to the smartest people in the room. Happy New Year to everyone, and we are so glad that you are here with us. And just by showing up today, you are already demonstrating your very own smarts. Today, I am pleased to feature two guys who have worked together in several capacities of the industry, especially live. Among several things they have in common is a long friendship and a shared passion for creating and producing first-rate live events and increasing opportunities for artists to shine. I am beyond thrilled to present these two rock stars to our audience, and I promise today you will leave smarter and more inspired than when you arrived. Before we get started, let me take care of some business. First, to the audience, please feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat window. The reason we do these webinars is twofold. First, we want to showcase really smart people and the amazing work they do day to day in the industry. But the second reason is a bit more nuanced. Many of you know that I am a music industry headhunter. I place music executives in roles throughout the industry. So by definition and function, I help people connect with companies. In this series, my goal is to help you make more connections, and I invite you to take full advantage of that opportunity. Specifically, I invite you to engage with the speakers and the other attendees in the chat of the Zoom. Please introduce yourselves, share your LinkedIn profile, say hello to your friends, and make some new ones. And ask questions of our speakers. We will try to address as many of those as possible during the interview itself. And also, please make sure your chat is set to address everyone, not just the speakers. I want to thank our sponsors for without their support, we could not keep this series free. Thank you to First Horizon Bank, Turnkey ZRG, Four Roses Bourbon, the Tennessee Entertainment Commission, Tennessee Brew Works, Project Music, and Cushmaster's brand of CBD products. I also want to introduce a brand new sponsor to our lineup called MedJet. MedJet is the top-rated medical transport and travel security program for people who travel extensively. It provides insurance coverage that gets you to the nearest hospital if needed and gets you home. MedJet is travel protection elevated. So let's get down to business. In today's host seat, we welcome Drew Young. Drew likes to be called a dedicated music fan first and foremost. Everything in his career has been based on his love of music. He cut his teeth in the heyday of Athens, Georgia music scene, where he fronted his own all-original band called Reuben Kincaid. What a great name for a band, by the way. 10 years and tens of thousands of miles logged on the road, multiple recording sessions, etc., led to a deep understanding of the life of a working musician and of the music industry from a grassroots level. After the band called it quits, Drew kept up his songwriting and performances, but decided to move into the business side of the music industry. Some of his career highlights have included general manager of Clinton Recording Studios in New York City, product development, strategic marketing, A&R for Putumayo World Music, music consultant for episodic television series called The Big Easy, and soundtrack and digital marketing for Lionsgate Television. Drew teaches university-level classes in the entertainment industry and specializing in publishing, digital marketing, songwriting, and music for the visual image on a global stage. Drew is still actively involved in the creative side of the music industry and consistently still playing shows, recording and releasing music, mentoring artists, and he runs a songwriting camp and Americana music event in Sweden. Drew has a master's in economic development, specializing in creative economy. Drew runs his own music consultancy business, and some of his clients have included AT&T, Sazerac, Preservation Hall, Mississippi Blues Trail, among many others. He lives in New Orleans and on various airplanes. Welcome, Drew. It is such a pleasure to have you.
So wonderful to see you. Thank you for being included. Although I think you might have gotten this wrong. It says the smartest people in the room. I think you probably shouldn't be in that space, but I appreciate the shout out.
Don't you worry one bit about that. And joining Drew as today's featured guest is my friend Anthony Diaz. Anthony is Chief Executive Officer of Sixth Man, the global leader in immersive festival experiences at sea and resorts. He's responsible for overall strategy and day-to-day leadership of the organization on land, sand, and sea. Sixth Man, a wholly owned subsidiary of Norwegian Cruise Line, is headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia, has completed 155 festivals on land and sea, serving fans and iconic artists, actors, comedians, and athletes, vacations in the Caribbean and Mediterranean for the past 20 years. Excuse me. Anthony joined Sixth Man in 2011 as Chief Marketing Officer and was elevated to COO in 2013 and becoming CEO in 2016. In addition to his role as CEO of Sixth Man, in the summer of 21, Anthony took on the position of SVP of Charters, Meetings, and Incentives for Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings, serving affinity, corporate, festival, and incentive-based large groups and full ship charters for the company's cruise line portfolio, which includes Regent, Seven Seas, Oceania Cruises, and Norwegian Cruise Line. Prior to his positions with Sixth Man and NCL, Anthony served in a series of executive marketing and sales leadership roles over a 13-year career with Gannett, holding positions on Gannett Broadcast's executive corporate team as VP of Sales Strategy and Development. His career started with CBS Radio in Tampa, Florida. He's a graduate of the University of Florida. During his college days, he performed in and managed a touring rock band. It is my pleasure to welcome these two rock stars to the smartest people in the room. And to set the table and explain more about Sixth Man, please indulge me while I play a quick video for you guys. Give me one moment, folks. I'm gonna go full screen.
Seeing artists share their soul and the idea of being on vacation with people you have a lot in common with, then this is absolutely the place for you.
Waking up on an empty beach. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. 1, 2, 3, and I'm on my feet. And we're moving. Okay, it's on now. Purple rain playing on repeat. That's right, that's right. Can't get your feels when you look at me. I give up everything to be with you. All of the bad things that I'm into.
Hey guys, can you hear that?
I'm feeling alright. No, I can't get.
Can you hear that?
We can hear it, but we
Y'all hear that and see that? Y'all are muted.
We can hear it, but not see it, Tom.
Sorry, let's start again. My bad.
I can never miss a day of this.
I got you by my side, and there's a sun in the sky. Yeah, it's a real good.
It's really been a great connection for the fans and the band. Our thing was always going to be, let's tear down the wall between artists and fans.
You're seeing people who everything that you love, they love too.
I think we all feel connected before we even meet each other.
All the fans in the same band, all on one ship, just jamming out.
You just get on and you have a whole ship full of friends automatically.
You see a lot of your old friends, and then you meet new friends.
Hey guys, I apologize. I'm having technical difficulties on this end. I am so sorry.
You want me to try and give it a try from this side?
Yeah, I apologize, Anthony. I don't know what happened. It was working fine in preliminaries, but I just screwed something up badly.
Here, let me try it here. While that's going on, this happens in every six-man staff meeting, and it's amazing that we can put 42 bands and 8 stages on a moving cruise ship, but we never can play a freaking video. So, not a problem. Let me see if I can try and grab it.
I apologize.
All good.
To the audience, guys, you're in for a real treat today because this is one of the coolest companies you may have never heard of, but you're now going to be fully immersed in it, and you're going to learn a whole lot about these two awesome rock stars.
So, Tom, you just got to let me share, and I'll try and grab it.
All right, how do I do that?
It just says the host disabled screen sharing.
My bad. There you go. Take the wheel.
Jesus, take the wheel. All right, let's see if we can get this going.
If you love great music, if you love seeing artists share their soul and the idea of being on vacation with people you have a lot in common with, then this is absolutely the place for you.
Waking up on an empty beach. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. 1, 2, 3, and I'm on my feet. And we're moving. Okay, it's on now. Purple rain playing on repeat. That's right, that's right. Gotta catch your feels when you look at me. I give up anything to be with you. All of the bad things that I'm into. And now it's 6 a.m. and we're still awake. I'm feeling alright, no I can't complain. It's a real good life. This has gotta be the most beautiful thing I've ever seen from the stage. It's a real good life. The first time I set foot on the boat, I thought, this is home. It's a real good life.
I can never miss a day of this.
'Cause I got you by my side, and there's a sun in the sky. Yeah, it's a real good life.
It's really been a great connection for the fans and the band. Our thing was always going to be, let's tear down the wall between artists and fans.
You're seeing people who everything that you love, they love too.
I think we all feel connected before we even meet each other.
All the fans in the same band, all on one ship, just jamming out.
You just get on and you have a whole ship full of friends automatically.
You see a lot of your old friends, and then you meet new friends.
It's a real good life. Yeah, it's a real good life.
One thing that I've seen over the years is there's so much love.
It's like a family.
It's so much for the heart.
There's a sense of community that I think we all really need, and I love being a part of it.
It's family, unity, music. It's life itself.
It's this beautiful coming together, people from all over the globe, the commonality of celebrating music.
Regular humans doing life together while we all share music.
This is really such a wonderful, genuine, authentic vibe. You guys are an incredible audience. And to be on the boat with heroes of ours is just amazing.
So let's rock and roll. It's a real good life. Nothing will bring me down. It's a real good life.
Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you to Six Man.
We love it so much.
Best thing I've ever done. Music, community, camaraderie, magic dipped in awesome, wrapped in chocolate.
It's a real good life.
Six Man, live loud.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bravo.
Well, very cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, please allow me to introduce Drew Young and Anthony Diaz. Take it away, Drew.
Wow, that was fantastic. I tell you, I'm going to echo. I think it was Lynn that said this on the chat. I'm going to echo that. I'm ready to sign up right now. Can you put a sign up sheet in the chat box there, Anthony?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, as you can imagine, I see that video a lot, a couple times a day, and you know you're getting to live a dream where you get super fired up about the thing that you do all day long. I mean, I still get pretty fired up when I see that video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun out there. But just like we had with the technical difficulties, there's always something that crazy that happens. So you got to learn to stay calm and roll with it, which is great.
Absolutely. It's always kind of fun to see that, you know, and you see people, you know, in the video. You're like, oh, wait, I know that guy. I know that person. So, wow. Well, what a pleasure to see you here, Anthony. And just really hats off to Tom when I got the call about this. And I was like, of course, I'd love to spend some time with Anthony. It's been a minute. We are long overdue for a po' boy at Parkway in New Orleans. So put that in your, follow that in your must-do list, please. So, well, you know, I thought I would just kind of dive into this here. You know, I mean, I know we're supposed to be having lunch, but I thought I would just go ahead and start here and say hello. It's great to see you, and great to see all the people here on the chat. I see some friends here on there, so that's awesome. And just a tiny bit of background about us. So I have to say, I always knew about Sixth Man. I always knew about. I had friends that were in bands that played on it. And they would always come back and they'd say, "Oh my God, I had like the most amazing experience on this boat." And I'd say, "Really? Yeah, that's kind of interesting. You know, I've never been on a cruise before." And it wasn't until I guess a few years ago when you and I connected, and you were one of the nicest people ever. And I was trying to understand what it was like to be on this boat. And Anthony said, "Oh, well, just come, just join us on one." And I thought, well, I like this guy a lot already here. But from the second that I got on the boat, I was absolutely floored by your commitment to breaking down the wall between fan and band. And I was wondering, you know, how did you come? I mean, it feels so natural and so organic for you. How did this all come to be in your mind?
Yeah, you know, it should be noted, the founder of Six Man, which I'm not sure if Andy Levine is on today, but many of the people on the chat probably know Andy. I was in a band with Andy Levine at the University of Florida. And we had a lot of heart. We had a lot of hustle. We didn't have any songs. and back then, this is 89 to 94, you know, there was no Spotify and YouTube. You had to get signed to really break through. And we were bouncing around the Southeast with bands like Blues Traveler and Hootie and the Blowfish and Dave Matthews. And that crowd, which all went on to do really well, by the way, and our band didn't. And Andy and I were sort of managing the band. He would book the shows and I would do the marketing. Now, mind you, marketing was flyers around campus, or some of our most strategic marketing was acoustic shows at sororities at their dinner so that we could get them to come to the shows, so that the guys would come to the shows and we'd pack small venues. But long story short, he and I were the two guys that were writing thank you cards to the people we were renting gear from and thanking the bar owners. Like, we've always had this, I don't know, wiring to serve, and we really enjoyed working together. And when that band disbanded, they joined some other guys in Gainesville that had created Sister Hazel. And Sister Hazel was always a very fan first, is still today, a very fan first band. Andy started managing Sister Hazel, and street teams had been really working super hard for the band. And after about a year of that, the president of the street team calls Levine, who's the manager, and says, "And we want to hang out with the band. We feel like we've earned the opportunity to hang out with the band. We've been papering college towns with flyers. We've been calling radio stations to get All For You on the charts." And the band and Andy agreed, and they didn't know if they were going to go to a beach or if they were going to try and pull off some kind of meetup in the mountains. And the notion of take them on a cruise ship came up. So Sister Hazel took 400 Sister Hazelnuts on a ship in 2001. It was just a large group. And really quickly, this notion of fans and bands together on vacation clicked. And there were shows, there were meet and greets, there were signing, there were acoustic sets on the beach. Like, it was just magical. And the next year, they got the notion where, well, why don't you not just do a large group? Let's do a full ship charter, which means you take the whole ship to yourself, you bring the whole community together. And that's really what put the concept on fire. And they did that. They created something called the Rock Boat. We just did the 20th or 21st sailing of the Rock Boat. And it really was the foundation of the company. And it laid the foundation for fan first, artist first, guest first culture, which Six Man really has built. And now here we are as a company 20 years later. Six Man's not even drinking age yet, but it's been a culture built on putting a lot of intention into the team first, so that the team can put a tremendous amount of extra care into the guests. And from there, the business will follow. The festivals will grow. And the same with the artists that we're able to serve. So, that's a snapshot of how this crazy idea came about. From Hazel came Skinner came Bare Naked Ladies came John Mayer, and here we are. Pre-COVID, we did almost 20 of these a year in Europe and in Mediterranean. And I don't know that anybody thought back in 2001, when 400 Hazel fans were going on a ship, that it could grow into something this wild and crazy.
Wow, that's an incredible story. And you think about just the gravitas that it takes to say, you know what, let's just charter a boat. I mean, and let's see if it works. So kudos for y'all for doing that. That's just amazing. So, I have a couple of questions for you here about it. And I just, some things I always wanted to know. Just to think about, I think about the logistics of pulling together an event on land. I mean, like all the different things that can go wrong. And all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, I've got this great idea. Let's just remove ourselves from land and let's just go out into the ocean and throw a big party. I mean, that's pretty incredible. So, what are some of the challenges that you've had to overcome with this?
There's so many, and I'm not saying it's easy to put a show on, whether it's a club, a shed, something the scope of a Bonnaroo or Coachella. I mean, it takes an incredible amount of work and commitment and talent to pull those off. There's just extra complexities that come on in doing so on a ship. The load in, we crane consoles on to get the appropriate gear on the ship and the staging on. But if there's a certain amount of wind, the crane won't operate. We still got to get John Bon Jovi's console on, right? So the obstacle in New Orleans, your hometown, the tide shifts the ability to get gear into the shell doors. So there's so many things that throw you off your game that we stop trying to think what's going to go wrong. We know things are going to go wrong. It's how are we going to handle it when we go wrong, when the things go wrong? What are our team setups? What is the communication? Because the obstacles are going to come. You know, it's a metaphor for life, right? It's how you handle it. And we have just been super fortunate. We've done 155 of these. Every time we think that the curveball, you know, is something where we've seen them all, something brand new will come. Wind on a ship, rain on a ship. There's so many nuances. You can't tender into the island. A tender is the small boats that you take to go from the ship into the island. You know, we had a scenario where we were going to do a big festival, a cruise festival that sails to a festival on the island. We had the stage ready, you know, invested all of that to put the stage up, but it was a beautiful sunny day, but it was too windy and the waves were too high to tender in. So here we are looking at this stage with the guests, 3,000 guests looking at the stage that we couldn't do the show on. And we pivoted and we did the show right there on the pool deck. And, you know, you make lemons out of lemonade, or however that phrase goes. So it is complex, but I will say, having been to a lot of shows my whole life, you know, from clubs to amphitheaters to arenas and big outdoor shows, the extra effort it takes to pull these off, I feel, and personally I feel, obviously I'm within the organization, it pays off in the experience. When you're pushing away from the Port of Miami or Barcelona or Athens or LA or wherever we're leaving from, and that first chord of that song kicks in, and it's your favorite band, and you're with people that share that passion, and you've got your favorite cold drink in your hand, 4 roses if it needs to be, Tom. And man, I get up on deck 13 and I look down and I see 2,500 people who are exactly where they need and want to be in the world with all of their cares and worries gone. So it took that extra effort to pull that off. So that's what we're in the game in. I don't know that Andy would have started this company 20 years ago if he knew how hard it was going to be. But now that we're in it, we've got an incredibly talented team that continues to execute and innovate. And it's just who we are now. And this is the space that we're in. We love it. And you know, we're committed to the future in it.
That's fantastic. I love the passion and enthusiasm you have for this. It's just, it envelops you, you know, even when you're talking, even through Zoom. So I love that. And I have to say, you know, as I've gotten to know you over the years, one of the things that consistently impresses me, especially when I first, again, back to when I first stepped on the boat, and it just shines this 100% commitment to service, to experience. And then then that even transcends into your office. When I went to your office in Atlanta, and we went out to lunch afterwards, I just was like so blown away. It has to be the happiest company I've ever walked into. I mean, it was just like, what? And so I was wondering, I mean, like that says a lot about you and the team. It says a lot about leadership. And just curious if you could talk a little bit about how do you continue with that enthusiasm and make sure that carries through into your whole team? I mean, you know, that's a lot that you've built.
You know, it's something where we're really proud of the culture, but we're also very aware of we've got so much work to do. We've got the same problems of any company, any size, any family. I think what was a turning point for us was, you know, it's a balance of art and science. We'd put a little rigor around the guest experience and had systems in place to ensure that there was a very dynamic guest experience from the moment a guest books. Unlike a concert ticket, mostly our guests are booking 10 to 11 to 12 months prior to the event actually occurring. So there was a scenario that popped up when the company was growing. I don't know exactly if it was from doing 2 cruises a year to 4 or 4 to 5, but there was a lot of anxiety within the walls at Six Man of, okay, we're growing, we want to grow, but we feel like we have something special. We're delivering something special. How do we ensure we keep it special as we grow? And that word special became sort of a brand within the company. So a couple of team members, pulled off into a room and they came up with these 7 pillars of special. And it's something we use for years, pointing towards the guest as a part of the Six Man guest experience. We want to invite you in a creative way. That might mean Kesha sends a direct video right when you book saying, Drew, we're so excited you're going to join me and all the animals setting sail from Nassau or from Miami to Nassau next year. We're going to have a blast. Cannot wait to party with you on a Kesha cruise. Invite them in a special way. We also learned that we have to inform our guests. This is leaving the country. This is passports. This is not just a ticket walking into a venue, right? It's complex. So we inform them and we brought them together in Facebook groups so we can have an opportunity to inform them on all that's going on with the event, as well as let them communicate with each other and form bonds with each other. We do a monthly newsletter to keep them informed. Then we realized, wow, this thing is 10 months away. We got to keep them excited. So we mail them luggage tags. We've mailed fortune cookies where you open it up to reveal the lineup, or puzzles, or whatever it might be to keep you excited as you're heading down this long journey. When you walk on the ship, we want to welcome you. To go back what I said about those sail away shows, we want you to know that when you cross that gangway, you are where you've been dreaming to be for the past year. And up until COVID, every guest that had ever walked on a six-man ship got high-fived. And it's just, boom, welcome, you're here. So we really want to welcome you. On board, we want to look after you in a way where we're trying to anticipate your needs. We want to amaze you, and that usually comes across with things in addition to the great shows the artists do. We're so fortunate that collaborations can happen on ships because we've got 30 bands for 4 days. It's unlike a venue or a festival where one bus pulls in, artist plays, next bus, right? We're together with these artists for 4 days, 5 days. And there's so much camaraderie around the artists that there's so much collaboration that happens on the stages. Well, that blows our guests away because they're getting to see things that can't happen in the real world. And I can really say that because it's just incredible what happens out there. So that's the amaze part. And then we want to appreciate our guests. That might mean with a guest gift, surprise photo with an artist. Really what I've learned, the best way to appreciate people is to ask, listen, and act. And our surveys are a huge, huge pillar. Our post-sailing surveys are a huge pillar of how we can learn from our guests and put things in action. So I only tell you those 7 pillars of special, which are invite, inform, excite, welcome, look after, amaze, and appreciate, because we were doing that for so many years to our guests. And the light bulb was, wait a minute. Why aren't we treating our team with the same way, right? Like, what if we apply those 7 pillars to the team? Invite them when they join the company, inform them about the culture of Six Man, excite them with a very unique career path, welcome them, look after. So I think what is hopefully helping the strength of our culture is we're applying rigor to making being a team member at Six Man special so that they feel it, so that they can deliver it because they have felt it themselves to the guests. They can deliver it to the guests and the artists because they're feeling it themselves. And, we're not always getting it right, but this team blows me away. It's just amazing what they can accomplish. And hopefully it's because a little bit of the attention to the culture that we put into it.
That's beautiful. It's really wonderful. And, when I listen to you talk, I'm so blown away by your enthusiasm and your passion for service, but also to the fans and your community. So you're kind of this you're a guru in the middle of all this, which is wonderful. So I can tell obviously that you are a music fan, like we all are here, and I got to ask you. I mean, what was your first concert you ever saw? Because obviously that must have lit the spark for this, right?
Yeah, this is obviously we all ask that question. I'm going to ask you the same one. So
no.
So mine is really bizarre because it was Kiss. It was in It was in 1978. That means 1978, I was 7 years old, Lakeland Civic Center. I think it's the Dynasty Tour, Tampa, Florida, where I was raised. I was in the KISS Army at the time. KISS Army, think about it, these guys were creating community way before artists were creating community. And I had my patch for the KISS Navy, for the Army, and I think they gave a tattoo in that little kit. So here I am now at age 50. For the past 10 years, I've just been blessed to play a role in building the KISS Navy. We've worked with Doc and the band for 10 years. We just did the 10th KISS cruise. We're about to do the 11th out of LA in the fall. I'm that kid that when my parents got me the KISS action, I won't say doll, the KISS action figure in like 1979, that was back when nobody had seen Kiss's face because of the makeup. I took a quarter, Drew. And Tom, this is where I'm going to get bounced because I should never be in anything titled the smartest I'm a B minus student from UF. But I scratched Gene's paint off the action figure because I thought, hey, I'm going to be able to see what Gene Simmons actually looked like. So to be able to sit with Gene and tell him that story and be a part of the KISS Navy. So yeah, my first concert is bizarre how it brought my life full circle by being a part of the KISS Navy here at sea.
I was in the KISS Army as well. I had the iridescent belt buckle that, when you moved it in the sunshine. Yeah, loved that thing.
So what was your first concert?
So I was living in Atlanta, and my best friend's older brother, who had a Trans Am with T-tops, was great, and we went to the richest parking lot, and we played until my parents snuck out of the house, and we camped out and got tickets to AC/DC.
Oh, there you go.
And that was, I remember when I didn't know what I was young. I was maybe 12 or 13. Can't believe my mom let me go to think about it. And I remember when those lights came on, it was just like, oh my gosh, what is this? I was hooked. I was like, I went and bought a fake SG and sat in the basement. And that was about to rock. So that was it. And then I went to the University of Georgia, and you and I were on that same touring circuit. We never played a show together, but I think I'm a couple years older than you. So we probably, I know we passed, we had a Ford Econoline 150.
Okay.
350, I'm sorry. Yeah. With that, and the air conditioning, didn't work. So we didn't smell very good, but we drove up and down the East Coast for about 10 years. And it was addictive, and it was just like, well, I guess I got to figure something else out. And here we are.
I love that you're still playing, though. I get your music when you put it out. I think it's, my extent of my playing is with my kids in the basement. I love that you're still out playing live.
I think I'm going to be that guy when I'm like 90, that I'm still going to be like sending you an email, being like, I'm doing my third gig of the year. But look, we got into this business because we love music, right? And we love people, and we love community. And which kind of leads me to something else that I was really, when you and I were working on the brand deals here, and then on the UK Europe gig here, one of the things that is always just blown me away about what you do is the off the boat community experience. And I was wondering if you could, just talk to me about that, because I've got some friends that when I came back from the first boat, and I had that flag up there. I was like the sixth man. I'm still in the sixth man advocate. I talked to a bunch of friends of mine into going on to the Outlaw Music Festival cruise, and then they had the best time. And then they've talked a bunch of their friends into going into it. I got some friends from Sweden it was very much word of mouth. And I know that you do a great job of the six-man community of off the boat. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that experience.
In the way we sort of try and foster community.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I was thinking about this the other day, and I know it occurs in other music franchises and music, whether it's festivals and things. But if you do a poster of like the headliners of a festival, the fans would be like direct support on a six-man cruise. They come for the artist, absolutely, but they come back for each other. And I really see the world shifting. If on land it's a bit of one-to-many, an artist plays a show, right, in an arena, and it's an amazing experience, a very one-to-many experience. On the ship, it's one-to-one, it's band-to-fan, it's band-to-band, it's fan-to-fan. It's this, right? It just lends itself to way more interaction. So I was thinking, like, what event is the fan the draw? Like, because these communities, Kisses in year 10, Keamo year 12 or 13, Rockboat over 20, these are real relationships the guests have. And off ship, within Facebook groups, within meetups, the Rockboat has franchise events that Sister Hazel does, where there's Rock by the Sea charity events, and there's Hazel Hangs. There's these things that happen on land, and meetups that happen within the cruise communities, because they don't want to just spend 4 days together at sea. They want to be together on land. So we set it up and set the stage for that digitally, and the Facebook groups are a great way to do that. And to me, it's the most powerful part of the concept. It's that Six Man is a community that serves communities, and music fuels it, and it adds value to the artist side, really no matter what tier the artist is. I've had artists say, man, I did a show in Milwaukee and 40 rock boaters were there with signs. And those were like the loudest 40 people in the room, because what happens is they were in Milwaukee, but that show and that artist took them back to the Caribbean, It's like the brands. When we worked with brands, we used to do a lot of work with Cabo Wabo Tequila. And nothing would make me happier is on a random Friday night where I'd see a post saying, just cracked a bottle of Cabo, taking myself back to Six Man's pool deck show. Like there's something powerful about what happens at sea and how it can add value on land to the artist's life, to the artist's career, and to the fans, just day-to-day happiness and enjoyment. And it's something they carry for the whole year, not just the 4 days. And that does take intention, and it takes a lot of work. We have a whole team here called Warriors, whose job is to build, strengthen, and foster the communities of the events. I mean, it's their job. They build the events and they serve and inform the communities. I should know exactly how many we have, and we're in a bit of a growth spurt. I think we're almost at 70 team members here at Six Man, and we've got a full team of warriors that look after and foster and build community. That's not as common within other promoter structures.
That's fantastic. So, and it's funny when it's easy to have been in this business for a long time and then start to see it as more of like, start speaking brand speak. But then at the end of the day, music is so special, and it's so, it really transcends, just brand, and advocacy and all that. It is all the human emotions involved into one. And it's really beautiful that it's a celebration of that, right? So that kind of leads me to the next thing that I've played this game with a lot of my friends, because obviously, I'm a huge fan of Six Man, and I know you and I have played this game before, which is when you start to drill down into this and you say, well, what kind of boat would work? and you start coming up with, like, it's kind of like fantasy football, right? So you start playing like fantasy cruise shows, and when you're building out new ideas and new products and new rosters, I mean, like, what does that look like, and how do you decide to pull that trigger?
Yeah, so on the concept side, on the actual hardware, which is the ship, we've been super fortunate. You mentioned, Tom, in the introduction that 10 years ago, we became a part of the NCL, Norwegian Cruise Line family. And we have 4 ships outfitted within their fleet specifically for festivals at sea, which, when you think about that, that's insane. These are ships that open pool deck, power, all set to accommodate the level of production we need, a beautiful haven for our artists to have a bit of a retreat, a main theater that can hold half the ship in the event you have inclement weather on the pool deck and you have to do 2 shows for one. So we're set on that side. As it relates to how we determine what might make a great partner, an artist partner, or a concept for a festival, I go back to the team. We have a development team here with some really smart people that have to apply a lot of art and science. I mean, there's no one metric that we can run and say, okay, it checks all these boxes, it kicks off this number, and if it's above a 70, it's going to be a sellout. We having done 155 of them, though, we have mined some trends. On a macro level, passion is the most potent driver of success at sea. The problem with passion is one of the more difficult things to quantify. So you can quantify it with some metrics: merch per person, fly-in, do they have their own brands, do they have their own festivals, do people tattoo the artists on themselves? Kiss is an example of a very high awareness artist that has very high passion. That's going to do very well. Conversely, we've done extremely well with lower awareness artists and concepts that have had very high passion. So some of our partners, Joe Bonamassa, Chris Jericho, 311, Paramore, Outlaw Country, Coheed and Cambria, these are massively successful franchises at sea. And sometimes I say those names to people when I'm at my kids' football game, and they don't know those names, right? They know, we've worked with John Bon Jovi and Kiss and Kid Rock. Of course they know all those names. So we do look at a set of metrics. What kind of roots, what kind of catalog, what kind of passion, what is their hard ticket? We try and triangulate it with every data point you can. And then ultimately we try and overweight some deeper understanding of passion. And then we go. A lot of our artists are doing due diligence exercises with us where they'll do surveys of their fans. It's a really smart move for a venture like this because it gives you the opportunity for an artist to put a survey in market and saying, I'm looking into the idea to doing something special together with our core fan bases like you. Help me curate the idea. Where do you want to go? Who do you want to come? What time of year? And you do a pretty exhaustive survey. And inside the survey, what you're doing is, you're checking in to gauge some interest. But I think more importantly, you're letting the fans build the experience that they will ultimately sail on. And that's really, really powerful. So it's probably more art than science. We're trying to get better on the science side because, as you can imagine, these are multi-million-dollar decisions, and it helps to get them right. But this comes down to passion, and anybody on the screen that can really help us quantify passion even further, we're all ears because it'll set us up even further for greater success in the future.
That's awesome, man. I love that. So I have a couple other questions. I have one other question here, and then I want to get to the chat box here. We've got several questions here. So I also want to give a quick shout out to the University of Colorado Denver students that are on this Zoom. Really great to see you guys here, and hopefully we can get Anthony to come in and speak again at some point. So, but thank you all for showing up here. So what is really interesting about some things that you and I've talked about is the extension and going on to land and going and then doing things other than music. And it's kind of a two-part thing I wanted to chat with you about. Was emerging markets that you were looking at too, and then also kind of the future of what's next for y'all.
Festivals at sea is our core, always will be. Music within Festivals at Sea, again, our core. We've been really excited to see that we've been able to broaden within musical genres. We were pretty rock focused in the very early days, and it's expanded into blues, into pop, into Latin, into versions of rock, into country. So we've been really excited to see that the proof of concept across musical genres work. Then we recognized, this isn't concerts on a cruise ship, this is community. And we started serving the Walking Dead community for 5 years at sea. We've done the Impractical Jokers comedy at sea. We're doing a Broadway cruise. We have an insanely successful, crazy wrestling cruise where we have a full rock and wrestling setup where the stage is on the pool deck, the ring is on the pool deck, and we're doing real tournaments while we're moving in the ocean. Some of the images are insane. AEW is a part. Chris Jericho is the host of that cruise. We capture content with AEW. It's on air the next day. So I think part of the growth that we're seeing is genres, in addition to music, that are all about bringing communities together. We have learned that communities Together on Vacation at Sea is just something that feels right. So I see more expansion outside of music while there's deeper inside of music. To speak to the resort, there's some people that do amazing work with resort and destination resorts, and Six Man entered into that arena in 2019, pre-COVID. We did a really great one in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic with Kid Rock at the Hard Rock. Then we were super fortunate to be able to serve John Prine and his community and All the Best Festival in another resort in Punta Cana in 2019. And the plan was to do a few of those a year to serve artists that, maybe an artist has done 10 cruises with us and they just want to shake it up a little bit for their fans, and then we can pivot to land. Maybe the guests who've sailed for 10 years want to pivot and do a little something different. Conversely, there's just some artists that at the time didn't want to have a conversation about cruise, and we have the infrastructure to serve artists and their fans in destination oriented events. So we do play in the resort arena. We're taking Melissa Etheridge. She's an example of one where we've been sailing with her and her fans for years, and we're going to Mexico with her later in the year, and we're doing a resort event with Melissa. So there's that piece as a part of our future. I've also been really intrigued and excited to see some of the calls we're getting now. We are executing an enhanced VIP experience for the band 311 in Vegas, over 311 Day in Vegas in a few months. And that was earned after being so fortunate to serve their fans for the 311 cruise for all these years. We are partnering with the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp to do a songwriter camp in Nashville in April with Desmond Child, which is incredibly interesting for us. So we're getting to flex new muscles of, as long as the core is super serve the guest and the artist, whether it's a camp with only 80 people or a resort with 3,200, we're working real hard internally here to support our team so that they can serve both types of events. Another part is other event holders have been calling us to leverage our expertise and our team's experience to power their events. So we have a 6-man services division that's growing, where instead of hiring the 70 people that I have and making the mistakes we've made over 155 destination events, we're able to serve others, empower their events. That might mean with booking, planning, logistics, execution, marketing, website development, all of it, based on what they need, and can be done on a menu. So it is getting pretty interesting. What started off as this ship with Hazel fans 20 years ago is now becoming a pretty diverse entity. I'm really excited about further geographic expansion. In the States, just in the next 24 months, we'll do Miami, LA, New York, likely Alaska. We've done Barcelona. We'll do Athens, Greece this summer with Joe Bonamassa and Steve Winwood. And that goes to Turkey and Mykonos. So because we have the relationship with Norwegian, we're able to tap into the deployment of their fleet, which gives us the opportunity probably more easily to expand globally. And we will continue to do that because we recognize, and I think you were on our event out of Barcelona 2 years ago, right? The feeling that we work so hard to create for fans at sea translates geography, right? It just, whether you're from Florida or you're from Barcelona, it works. So I do see some more global expansion for the organization, but I think it's critically important to go back to those 7 steps of special, that we hyper focus on serving the team. Growth can be very dangerous. And we've gone through patches where I personally, as the CEO, I got enamored by expansion to Europe, and I got too focused on the festivals, and the shift of the focus from the team slipped. And the good thing about our culture is they let us know, and we do surveys to the team, we do town halls with the team, and that can't happen. And so the hyper focus has to be on this team. They deserve it. When we do that, they'll serve the guests. When they serve the guests, the company will grow and expand beautifully. So it's something we take very seriously. And I always have to look at my time and my day going, am I doing this thing for my ego? And is this what's best? If we're going to go do that, is the team structured? Do they have the resources? Do they have the staffing to pull off what we're asking them to do with new projects? And we got great leaders that are supporting the team, and I'm just trying to get the hell out of their way lately. So.
Beautiful, man. You just do wonderful, wonderful work, and hats off to you to having such a real holistic viewpoint of the industry and the staff and your guest and the artist. And I know we've probably only got a few minutes here, Tom, so keep me honest here. And I know we've had a lot of activity in the chat. Thank you all so much for your questions here. And should I go ahead and let's look at some of these questions here. So we've got, say, Andy, you said, what's the status of a reality TV series?
It's come up. Our biggest obstacle, I mean, there's 96 people on this group, it looks like right now. Most people don't know the concept exists. And again, to go back, if I'm at my kid's football game and you're in the stands talking about, hey, what do you do? What do you do? It's just a natural thing. And I say, oh, we take fans and bands together on vacation at sea. They really think it's a calypso band under a gazebo, and then I'll try and show a photo and I don't get it. But if I can show that video that I showed you guys earlier, and I say, no, these are iconic artists, it works. So we've been approached numerous times about a television show back when the I think they called them docudramas. Remember Cake Boss, where companies were getting their own TV shows. I still think there's something there, following the fan journey. It'd have to be with an artist that is endorsing the concept and wants to open up the concept. But we would love it, because really our biggest obstacle is the world being aware that we exist. Normally, if we can get you on a ship, an artist or a guest, our retention rate is 65% on guests. That, I got a 65% chance of getting you back on year two. With artists, we do our best to super serve the artists, and most of our artist partners have come back year after year after year. So I love the TV show idea. If done well, send me a direct message and let's set up a call.
Let's see here. Tom, I'm just kind of scrolling through here.
I've got one for him.
Oh,
Anthony,
please, yeah.
Anthony, is there a singular moment that is seared into your brain that is the one end all be all sixth man moment for you?
I might have kind of shared it a bit already, because it's true. Because normally what someone will ask is, and I ask all of you too, is what band would you want to set sail with, right? It's a very personal question. And but normally when I'm asked that question, which is the Eagles, by the way, and for so many reasons growing up with my father and my sons, but that moment, Tom, when we can watch the guest when we're pulling away from port, it's nothing feels like that. And normally you're just so worn out. Embark days, which load-in days for any festival, are very demanding. They're extremely demanding at sea, particularly when it's a day one stage build. And I'd go to deck 13 to look down on 12. And I'll say the same thing I think I said earlier, is you're watching 2,500 people almost just, they're not arm in arm hugging, but it feels like they are. And it feels like they're all best friends, whether they are or aren't. And, it's like they're there with people who share their same passions. And they share that with each other. And that first chord hits, the sun is shining, the drink is in their hand, the horn will blow, usually right when the lead singer's trying to sing, which I always try and blunt that problem. And it's just an incredibly special moment. And you go down the channel and you are on vacation. And to me, that's my favorite moment. Invariably, my ship phone will call and say, Anthony, we got a problem. So the moment's very fleeting for me to enjoy. But man, for the guests, the next 4 days, it's that 24/7. And that's why we do this. This isn't about selling cabins or beer or merch, right? I mean, this is creating moments that last a lifetime. And it sounds cliche to say it, but we wouldn't have been here doing this 20 years if that really wasn't the core ethos of our organization. And it comes back to the team. We're able to attract such amazing people to join the company that live and breathe serving others,
So anything coming up you can share with us real quick?
Yeah, I will say I've been super excited. We have 14 confirmed already, 14 festivals at sea confirmed already for 2023. Obviously, the past 2 years we've had to navigate and pivot. We just took 10,000 guests on vacation in the fall. We did 6 back-to-back festivals in October, November. Next year, I think we can get, near 20. Maybe I'm being too ambitious there. My team's probably now going to kick me in the shins, but we have 14 laid in. We've got offers out to some others, which I'm really excited about. So growth is back. We've had to navigate the realities of COVID, Delta, and Omicron. I've been extremely proud to be a part of Norwegian Cruise Line, as they've been a pioneer in setting really strict and disciplined protocols. They were the first out with the fully vaccinated environment at sea, peer testing, air filtration, if mask mandates need to be in or not. Like, they're super attentive to it, so that we can ensure that our guests and our artists are sailing safe. Everything I'm hearing from, we have an opportunity with Dr. Scott Gottlieb, who's an advisor, a former FDA commissioner. He's an advisor to Norwegian Cruise Line. He did a session with us last week, and I'm no Dr. Fauci, but it looks like we're starting to see some tapering. Numbers are coming down, which is good for live across the board, I hope. So yeah, a lot's coming up next year. We'll be back in Europe next year, Drew, so come join us. We'll be all over the Caribbean, I can tell you that. And we're gonna have a lot of fun with it.
Fantastic. So I think we've hit our hour here, Tom, or are we okay yet?
Yeah, Anthony, and Drew, both of you, how do these people reach out to you if they want to either hit you up on social media or whatever? Put your handle in the chat there. There's a couple of folks in here who've already inquired about, how do I go to work for Sixth Man? No wonder what a marvelous environment you've created there. I want to go to work for Sixth Man.
Let's do it. I just put my email in my cell, please. That's the best way. I'm super attentive to any email or cell, text or call that comes in. And we are hiring. I couldn't be more blessed that we're hiring right now. Not everyone is. And the only way we can pull this off is with amazing people. It takes money to charter a ship and book a band. Now, there's an art to booking bands, so I'm not diminishing that at all. But to pull off the intensity of the level of experience just takes amazing people. So if you see an opening and you want to talk, we would love to have the conversation, because people is what have gotten us to this point. And I'm not going to screw up what Andy Levine created 20 years ago. So I want to make sure I'm stewarding this company well into the future. And that means, putting a lot of intention to serving the team.
And Drew, is there like a website for fans to access your music?
Yeah, drewyoung.com.
Wow, how'd you get that one?
Pretty amazing there, huh?
Good on you. Well, regrettably, we are out of time. And I just first want to say thank you to the audience for your continued patronage and enjoying this conversation today. And I really want to thank you two for not only doing this, but sharing your wisdom and your inspiration. It's no wonder you're both as successful as you are. This has been remarkable. And so please carry on and keep doing it. Stay healthy. Get a shot if you haven't gotten one, to everybody out there. And we will see you hopefully sometime on a boat called Sixth Man Cruises soon. With that, I'm going to sign off, folks.
Tom, thanks so much for having us. Drew, it was a blast.
Yeah,
Great.
so great to see everybody here, and really thank you for having me be involved. And I'll see you soon, Anthony, and I'll see you soon, Tom.
Take care.
Take care.